Thank you for tuning in to the World Builder's Anvil, episode 328. The ultimate secret for relaxing.
Don't know where to start building your fantasy world?
Do you need more? Does it make sense?
Forget any worries and become a crafter of imagination.
This is the place where we will prime your mind.
Now, it's time to heat up the forge.
Break out the mithril ingots and hammer.
Welcome to the World Builder's Anvil. I'm Jeffrey W. Ingram.
And I'm Michael Miller.
Let's sup from the muck of Java and build. Welcome back. As always, your peaceful guru. I'm Jeffrey W. Ingram.
And in dire need of relaxation, I am Michael Miller.
Yes, the essential of us.
Who, me?
Yes, you.
I'm essential?
Yes.
Oh, you mean yes? You mean my employment status?
Yes.
Still essential.
Still essential, and feeling essential.
I don't know. I don't know. You don't always make me feel that. Usually, because you tell me I don't need you. I don't need you here.
When?
So we talked about relaxing in a very, very recent episode. It was only like 2 or 3 episodes ago.
4 episodes ago.
4 episodes ago. So
that episode, we're talking about like things to do, right?
Well, I know, but so when I read that we're doing another relaxing episode, I'm like, Jeff, we just did that, but this is different, and it's important.
Yes, it's important because really, and this is something that kind of someone said it, and it made sense to me. Brendon Show, kind of the guy who keeps my brain from getting too depressed. He's my positive guru, Brendon Show. And he was talking about this. We subscribed to his high performance experience, and we were listening to it. And he was talking about this thing. And to me, I always complicate stuff to make it more simple. So that's what I'm kind of doing here. But really,
do you complicate things to make them more simple, or do you complicate things because breaking something down makes it easier for you to understand it?
It makes it easier for me to understand it.
And thus
make it repeatable.
And thus then it becomes simpler to you.
That's true. Over time.
But my point is, I'm sure there's a lot of the listeners that do the very same thing, which is why I'm pointing out the distinction in your statement as opposed to letting that fly by.
And opposed to just allowing me to mock myself. Yes.
Yeah.
Turn it into an actual lesson to help people.
It's kind of something we want to do.
Okay. So one of the things I want to talk about first is you need to know your true path to relaxation. I can't tell you exactly what it is. I will tell you kind of what it is later on. That's kind of the problem with it, right? It's kind of like a path to enlightenment. It's sort of this thing. It's a journey that you're going to have to take. But it's actually really simple once you figure out what it is at the end, which is, of course, the end of the episode. So you have to listen for 30 minutes. But,
and that's if I can keep him on track.
Yeah, we get into too many weird side stories. So there's some benefits to knowing your true path to relaxation. One, you become more creative. Your mind just works better. Okay, it's a beautiful thing. You're more confident. You have to be really humble like me to be able to understand how confident you are. But
your humility knows no bounds. I mean, it impresses me. It really does.
I say that without reservation. But you become more confident because you kind of know the path you're on, where you're going in life. You become more decisive. It's easier to make decisions if you know where you're going. And I know many times throughout my working in the corporate world, I was trapped being indecisive because I wasn't really going anywhere, right? Oh, sure, there's a promotion down the road or something like that, but I myself wasn't. I was on a path, but it wasn't my path, and that was really part of my path. And if I had made it part of my path, it would have made my career easier, because you know where you're going and you can say yes and no to things. There were certain things I probably should have said no to on my path that I said yes to, because it just seemed like the next logical thing to do.
I do find that playing that game though can be, I don't know if I want to use the word destructive, but certainly counterproductive when you are looking back at, what you now consider mistakes. But what we really need to do
really
is
consider them mistakes.
Well, I know you
make this point. I'm agreeing with you.
The point is that with hindsight, everything looks clearer, and also because of how things have played out, you now realize what could have been a mistake. But in the moment, you're always trying to make the best decision with the best information available at the time, as well as, in line with your motivations at the time. Your motivations have definitely changed from what they are now to what they used to be. Like there are some things that you're totally after now that you
I couldn't even consider.
Or things that you cared about greatly when you were younger that now you're like, oh, whatever. So like that game can be a slippery slope into regret and questioning your own judgment, which I don't.
That's a huge pitfall. We're gonna have to do about that
that's what I mean.
But yeah, he's right. I could say, because I would never take back a mistake. It's the good and bad things that bring you to where you are in life. And if you're happy in life, it means you're at a good spot. You should be thankful, grateful for the bad things and the good things, especially the bad things. You probably learned more from those than the good things.
I definitely have bad things that I would take back, mostly regarding my physical pain. Well, like the emotional stuff, that stuff has built me into the man I am. So I'm okay with that stuff. But the physical stuff, I
think I needed some of the physical pain, to jar through my thick skull to start doing things in different ways. So maybe that was good too. And I ended up not taking worse damage. So, but the thing things, they could make you sexier, but I can't add that to this list because I can't become any sexier.
I shouldn't. I've been warned.
You're at the legal limit.
It would be dangerous. So
that's why we do radio, folks, because we're so damn sexy.
We've considered a video podcast before, but we just thought people are not going to be able to handle us both on the screen at the same time.
They won't be able to listen to our words.
This all feeds into our humility. You can probably tell.
But ultimately, the good thing is, excuse me. Oh wait,
that was lovely.
You're gonna love all of those things that you get to hear when you edit.
Oh, I'm leaving that in.
He hates the listener. You'll cut that out.
Yeah, you guys can start complaining to me forward, because in the next, this might be the first one. In the next couple of episodes, I am taking over the responsibilities of editing the show.
So all of the mistakes are on him. I'm going to actually take this article and put it ahead of time, so he'll get hit up for any of the mistakes I've made in the last few before he takes over. But go ahead.
Let's get back to relaxing.
Get back to relaxing. But ultimately, really, it makes you happier, right? Because you kind of ultimately know where you're headed, and that might change in 6 months. But the thing is, when you're going somewhere, it allows you can be happy with where you are. Not always content. Content's a bad thing, but happy is a good thing. You should be able to enjoy your life along the way.
So, but what's the problem with not knowing?
Okay. So here's the problem is oftentimes relaxation will lead to guilt. Guilt leads to fear, and fear leads to the dark side, which isn't exactly what I want to say.
I think you might have gone off
track
I started a little towards the end there.
Yeah, I apologize. But really...
So relaxation leads to guilt, you think?
Yes.
Why? Why is that?
Because you feel like there's something else you should be doing, because there's something your family needs. There's something that at work you're behind on, and so it's not fair that you're relaxing right now. And everyone might not have this problem. It's a problem I know a lot of people have.
I'm not terrible with that problem.
It's not terrible, but see what also happens is you don't necessarily know that you're having that problem, and what happens is you start turning your relaxation into escapism. And I have nothing against using escapism while you relax, as if you go back 4 episodes. That's pretty much, I do escapism. I like fantasy. I like video games. Those are all escapist. But the problem is when your goal is escapism, if you're relaxing and you're moving towards actual escapism, it means you're trying to escape your life or a portion of your life.
So give me an example. What would you consider like a negative escapism?
So it's when you use it to escape reality. So, it's not just to relax, but it's like, you don't want to come back. When you get to that point where you're so dissatisfied with your life that, that's where you start rating and wow 500 hours a day. and you don't want to get up, you don't want to eat.
So
when you start using it to escape things that you need it to do,
okay, that's fair enough. Fair enough. That's what I was about to say. Is if it's impacting your life in a negative way, and you are neglecting responsibilities or obligations,
and sometimes it's even things that you would normally like to do, because over time it builds up. Because what happens is when you start really escaping, and instead of relaxing, what happens is you start building up anxiety, because you like, I know I'm behind. I know I need to do this, but I'll just let me play one more level. And it's not just like one night; it's every night. It's every morning. I'll go sleep in just another turn. Let me just do one more thing of this. And it's like you're not really doing your creative stuff. You're just doing this escapism stuff. And trust me, I spent time in corporate like this, right, where we're just like constant like escaping reality, and it builds up anxiety, and it leads to burnout. It's part of the burnout cycle, which I believe we've talked about before, but I'm not positive. We might do that at some time if I haven't. But burnout is kind of when you give up, and you're kind of at your current bottom, and you might or might not improve. So that's really kind of what we're trying to avoid here. And once again, it's not to say you can't play video games. I play video games. Michael plays video games. You can do them. But you know what? I can sit there and go, okay, I've played ESO for an hour, but I have to go to bed. I know my kid's going to be up early tomorrow. I only have time for 45 minutes today, and that's it. Or sometimes I get no time. So, because I want to do some creative stuff. There's other things I want to do, and where I enjoy escaping at times, and it is good. It forces you to release all of this stuff in real life. You don't want to get stuck where you don't want to come back. That's when it's really going to negatively impact your life. But now, really, what is the true path to relaxation? Now, I can't tell you specifically what Michael's is. I can tell you what mine is right now. But it's finding the future version of yourself that excites you. Like, I really wish this about me. And it's not really a goal. It's not like something that, you sit there and go, okay, I have a metric of this that I want to measure in a spreadsheet and do it. No, it's not. It's like this future version of yourself that excites you. Now, if you like spreadsheets, you want to make one, I'm not going to judge you. I like spreadsheets. I don't have one for this, but I like spreadsheets. So, but really it's something that you wish you were. And you feel it, you get a tingle in an appropriate way.
What if it's something you want to have?
Yeah, it could be that, right?
It could be that, because for me right now, the big thing that I'm looking forward to is having a home. Yeah. So you could say something about the future me that I'm excited about being a homeowner. Yeah. So that counts.
That's very fair. I mean, mine's related, right? Mm-hmm. So for me right now is me and my wife really want to move to Space Coast.
Space Coast?
It is near Cape Canaveral. It is
gotcha. Yeah.
It is a portion of the Florida coast. Merritt Island, and it's Cocoa Beach and a couple other towns. There's an outer island as well that's on the Atlantic side. But it just like, we want to move there. Okay. And we want to get a house there. And we would like to do that. We can't afford to now, but like right now, especially in the pandemic, it's like, wouldn't it be nice, like if it's in the 80s and we had a pool in the backyard?
Yeah.
Like in Connecticut, where we still feel like we're in early April. But part of that might be because tax season is not really over. And so, but it's been chillier than normal, I think, up here.
Yeah, it's chilly today. We had some nice weather a couple days ago.
Yeah, we get glimpses of nice weather. But in general, it's been, I think, I don't know on average if it's been colder or not, but I feel like it has been this year. And I mean, obviously, anywhere you live, it could be like that. But the thing is, if we, we think living sort of like coastally, and really it's not as far out of our budget as we thought. I mean, for a while we were talking about literally selling our home, moving into an RV to Florida to save up money to buy a house. And then we realized it's more expensive, but it's not that much more expensive to like live on an island in Florida, at least on the islands that we're looking at. Some of the islands, it's a lot more expensive. but not Merritt Island and the other island there, the
How
Barrier Island.
I assume you will do your research as to how hard they get hit by hurricanes.
Oh yeah, I mean they get hit by hurricanes and stuff like that. I mean, and part of the thing you have to look for is in the house is how resilient the house is to hurricanes.
Well, that's my point.
Yeah, and then so you buy the house, and a lot of times, every time houses get destroyed, they up the zoning regulations for houses that go in. So ones that have survived have a proven track record, and then the newer homes are a lot of times they're category 5 prepared. So, but yeah, that's obviously a thing that you have to think about if you live anywhere in Florida, because the state isn't that wide. So if a hurricane hits either side, you're probably going to feel the effects of it. Yeah, but yes.
Anyway,
that's obviously
so what about the future you excites you?
Yeah,
that's what you're trying to figure out.
That's what you're trying to figure out, and that's really step 1 here, right? Is you want to figure out what about your, what's something in the future that if you could have, and it could be a way of thinking, it could be a thing, whatever it is for you.
Maybe your future you is confident and has a positive self-body image, and that's your future you.
And that would excite you. It's like, if that could happen in my life, would be so much better. And the thing is, when you start achieving those things, you're going to find that if you look forward, there's still something else. It's the thing that makes us human, is there's always something else that we want. And it might be material, it might be spiritual, whatever it is. I don't think it's necessarily wrong either way. And it's probably wrong to distinguish those two anyway. But, things about humans, the reason we keep advancing, sometimes in negative ways, sometimes in positive ways, is there's something else it's that drive that keeps us going. And if we're excited about going there, it's like it brings the joy in your life to think about it, which brings you, to step 2, which I've listed as step 3 here, which is spend time every day actively visualizing yourself there. Like I went to Zillow and I set up searches for the specific towns that I want to live in down there, with a certain price range of home. And I get emailed changes in the market. And I'm sure it's not perfect. It's not everything, but I see the houses and I like them, and my wife sees them. She gets excited. We get excited, but it gives us, since we both have the same one right now, it's simple, so I can go through and look at these houses and then think about it. We can think about it. And then being down there with Eric and homeschooling and the way life's, is going to be there. So the excitement helps give you the energy, because you get that from being happy. It helps give you the energy to keep going and getting just a little bit more done, because you still have to get there, or you're already there, and there's no point in visualizing it because you're living it. And then once you get down there, it'll be something else, then it'll be like beachfront, I'm sure. So, but that's really important. And you need to, it's like a form of meditation almost, where you spend, like at least 5 minutes every day visualizing yourself in that state that you will be in the future, because that helps make it real in your mind and accessible. If you have a disconnect between you and that future self that excites you, it won't be believable. And sometimes, even if it's complicated, it's still believable. Like, okay, I really need to make a lot more money to do that. How do I make more money? Or I really need more free time. How do I get that? So, spend time every day visualizing yourself in that future state. It will, trust me, that makes me happy every day.
I know that I kind of have a push-pull aspect of that, because I visualize the house all the time. Like I have, for a while there, I had a very precise house built in my head. Like I could tell you the house style. I could tell you almost
every A-frame.
It was a cape.
Okay.
But that is modifying, because my wife and I took a look at a colonial, and I was like, you know what? I could live in a house like this. So my specific idea of what I want is amalgamous now, but the specific things I want in it are not. Yeah. And the thing is, the push-pull aspect I had just mentioned is that when I think about the house, I am happy, I am excited. Like I cannot wait to be in a house. Yeah. But all it does is remind me that I'm not in a house and I don't like where I am. So it has a two-pronged hit for me. And I don't know if that is something that's going to occur to others that try this exercise. Is that, or what, or if there's an empowering thing that we can do? Yeah. Okay.
Well, it's one of those things.
I would say for me, the easiest thing I can say is don't fixate on the negative, fixate on the positive possibility of the future.
And for me, it's this idea of taking a new step towards it every day. It could be a small step, like, spending more time looking at like floor plans or sitting there going, okay, let me work on the budget a little bit to see if I could save another $10 today. If I could cut $10 out of my budget, maybe I don't go out for coffee at work today. Maybe it's something like that, so I can save the money faster to get to where I'm going. Or I find a way to, as some people say, make my shovel bigger so I can dig faster to get to my goal. If you need finances, I can get the therapist or the right person to help me with the mental states.
I was very excited. I think it was yesterday or the day before I paid off a credit card. And now
that's a huge one. Yeah.
Well, the only debt that my wife and I now have is a personal loan. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a significant personal loan, but we are now fully consolidated. So at this point forward, I can start, my snowball has gotten bigger. So my shovel has gotten bigger.
Really helped Kristen and I getting debt free. And if you have a lot of debt, trust me, it could take a while. Like Kristen and I had shoot loads of debt. So, but we had decent shovels, which helped. But, if you live within your means, you can get rid of your debt. And that gives you freedom to tell your boss no. Because you can sit there and go, you know what, I'm going to pull back and look for another job, and I don't care.
And even in the face of like my financial situation in the past year, I've been able to be very, very picky.
And you've had some tough obstacles.
I have, and I've changed jobs like 3 times in the past 1 year, which that's not the career path I chose. That's not what I wanted, but that was the circumstance that I was put in and had to deal with. But I'm very happy with the outcome, and that I had the confidence and the ability to do that.
Yeah. So really for me, the trick is, as you visualize what makes you excited about the future. And then, when you start to get that, but I'm not there, which will happen, you need to sit there and go, what's one thing I can do today? And like I said, maybe it's 5 minutes looking for a person I'm going to need on this journey. Maybe I'm going to go through the classifieds. The jobs, that shows how old I am. I call them classifieds.
Yeah, it's still classifieds.
Boards, to find, let's say, maybe the same type of job with a little bit more money, or I can take the skills I learned in the job and maybe find the next level job somewhere else. To increase the shovel, I can spend time interviewing therapists or pastors or rabbis, whoever you look to for mental health, or figure out which of your friends is that person. But sit there and spend a little bit of time every day actively working towards it. For me, I like to call it living above my mu, meaning a statistical mean. The term mu is the stats number, or X bar, depending on what stats class you're in, they might call it. But, it's like, what do to live a little bit better than I have before. And I know I'm not going to take a huge step. Even when you get those huge steps, there are lots of little steps to do that. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they're very quick, but it's always little steps. This is kind of where I'm at in my life. I'm at my average. If I can do one new thing, I can learn one new fact. If I can do one more piece of work today, mentally or actual work, or maybe around my house, what can make me just a little bit better than I was yesterday? And over time, you end up a lot better than you would have been if you've just sat there and go, boy, I wish I could just be there. Because you'll never get there in one step. It'll take you several steps to get there. And even if it's just minute, you can get a little bit, even if it's just that visualizing piece, that's one step you took. And if you take one more step right now, I don't have the energy for one more step. And not that you need to burn out, but just sit there and go, you know what? I'm done today. I've worked and I've done all this stuff, and I'm going to go play ESO to relax and let my mind free. And
the thing that I like about when you're working on something that you're excited about is that little bits of progress are, I I guess addictive is a good word to apply to it, because I got home the other day and I had a few tasks that I wanted to do. I wanted to build these little wooden caddies for parts and pieces to put in my work van. I wanted to build a little a platform thing for my buddy's cell phone for when we play cards online. And I wanted to possibly drive it to his house. And I got home early that day. So I was like, all right, I got time. I could do this stuff. And then I went downstairs and I started looking through my shop. And you have to understand that I live on the third floor of an apartment. I have probably a 12 by 12 space in the basement that is mine. And in that space is so much stuff. So it's very difficult for me to build things and create things when I want to, because there's just not a lot of room. I'm very cramped, like literally a 12 by 12 space that also houses a water heater, a furnace, a dryer, a 9-foot kayak, 8-foot ladder, 6-foot ladder, workbench, all my tools, Christmas stuff, 2 bicycles. Like there's so much stuff in there. The space is really, there's so much stuff. This isn't even half of what's down there either. I'm sure. So one of the big problems with me doing a quick little woodworking project is I don't have room for a table saw. So, and it's very hard to make those cuts cleanly if you're not doing it on a table saw. So I had to makeshift something. There was barely enough room for me to stand up and stand in the space because I had to do it all on the floor. And I makeshift something with my circular saw. And I'm standing there looking at this and I'm like, do I even really want to do this right now? Like, I don't have to do this right now. Like, I don't even have to do this at all. But I was like, no, I kind of want to make these little caddy things. So I'm like, all right, fine. So I started cutting up all the wood, and then I realized I cut one part of it wrong. So then I had to cut it again so that they matched in width. And long story short, every step I took, I was a little more motivated to take another step. So I ended up not only completing the little thing for my friend, and I made this nice thing for him. I not only cut all the wood up for the caddy things I wanted to make for myself, I sawed them all, because the assembly sawing I had to do by hand. I couldn't even do that with a power tool. I had to do it with a hand saw. I did all of that. I put them all together and they came out great. And then I carried everything out to my car and put them in my car, and I'm walking away from my car and I'm like, the thing that I built for my friend really should have 2 holes in it in case he needs to adjust it, not just one. I was fully done. Tools were put away, packed up the basement, and I'm like, I have to do it. I have to do it. So I pulled it back out, pulled the drill back out, got out the hole saw, and I drilled another hole in it, sanded it again, and then packed it all up, and then still drove 5 towns away to drop it off at my friend.
Another hole after that.
Nope. I still was even motivated to drive 5 towns away, and this is all after my work day, and drop it off at my friend's house. So I got all of that stuff done just because I got some of those things started. And that's the big thing, is starting and letting that start. It turns into a little bit of a production inertia. You get like this inertia where you're like, okay, I did that, but you know what? I got 10 more minutes. I'll do a little bit more, you know?
That's one of the if you follow productivity people online, that's always one of the hacks, is you have your to-do list of things that you need to get done, but you kind of don't want to do them. They're quick, easy things that you're kind of putting off. And when you're having that problem getting started, you go look at your list of easy things and go, okay, I'm going to email this jerk back. And you pump out the email, you shoot that off. And all of a sudden, like two minutes later, it took you 5 months to get to this email, but you finally write out, but 2 minutes later you're done and you have a win.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
And it gets your perspective for the day started. That's a productivity hack that you see all of the great productivity people talking about, because it's what they call building momentum, and because some of the stuff you're doing, even if you like it, is harder lifting sometimes than the other stuff, and you kind of need some momentum behind you. It's like when you're riding the bike and you're getting to that hill. If you don't have momentum when you reach the hill, you're going to stop about a quarter of the way up and roll backwards if you're really fat like me.
There's 2 things that I like. We say this in my house all the time. One is, okay, thank you for sharing, do it anyway. So it's like, oh, well, I have to clean the kitchen. oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I really don't want to do it. All right. Thank you for sharing. And now let's go clean the kitchen, you know, or a given thing is a given way. Now, usually I have two contexts for that statement. Usually the context for that statement is if my wife is requesting something. Usually she'll be like, my glass of water's empty. And I'll just be like, a given thing is a given way. Because all you're doing is sharing information. What she should be saying to me is, will you please get me another glass of water? Yes. Which is what I would, prefer. Mm-hmm. But the other way the other way this statement can be is you're laying in bed and you're like, I'm really tired. I just woke up. It's Saturday. It's cozy. I could be laying in bed for another couple hours and really enjoy my morning. But I was committed to getting X task done, whether that is getting up and going to work out or getting up and getting some cleaning done or work on the project or whatever. Mm-hmm. So you could be like, okay, I'm really comfortable. It's warm in bed. A given thing is a given way. Now let's get up and do it. Let's just get up and do it.
What do I want more?
And what do I want more works great.
And sometimes it's a short-term thought, and sometimes it's a longer-term thought.
Mm.
But yeah. So for me, it's like it's the X bar, right? It's the median. So you're the X, and the bar's on top of you. Mm-hmm. If you can't pull yourself over, take a moment, build a ladder, or go grab the ladder, put it up there, so you can just walk up and step over the bar. Because
So I believe your metaphor is that you need to make
easier with ladders.
Well, I'm assuming the bar is the goal you're trying to reach, and the ladder is the smaller tasks that you can use to get yourself closer there incrementally.
Oh, I hadn't thought of it that way, but that sounds really clever.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure it came through because it seemed like you were not going to explain it.
No, I was not.
Okay.
I was just kind of amused because I just thought I was like, oh, X bar, because you have X with the bar across it.
Yeah. I get you. Like, and like we've talked about gamification before, and this just reminds me of that. If you were looking at a very big task, break it up into smaller tasks. Like it's really easy to think about it. Like if you're trying to
make your own ladder, that's right.
You could make your own ladder. If you're looking to like say for sake of argument, get into better shape, and it's like, oh well, people who are in shape do push-ups, but you can't do a push-up. Well, then don't do a push-up. Put your knees down and do like a little push-up. If you can't even do that, then just lean against the wall and push yourself outward against the wall until you can do push-ups. It's just little small steps, small progress.
If you know someone who was there, it's like, hi, I'm Tony Little, and I was 7,000 pounds, and now I can work out really strong. You just say, hey, how'd you do it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, always go to people who have done it.
Tell me 5 things that you did to go from no shape, like I'm a Jeffrey, to perfect shape.
Michael.
So, what are 5 steps it takes to get there?
I'm not in perfect shape.
It takes. Now, they might be complicated, very steep steps where you need ladders to get up the steps. But there's usually 5 key things that have happened that got them there. Maybe part of it was diet.
Well,
I don't even know what that word means.
It's all diet. Abs are made in the kitchen, not in the gym. You can't outwork out a poor diet.
In a brewery, sir.
Mine too. Mine are made in a distillery.
All right, folks. So for your world-building task, take one of your favorite characters and think about what is it for them. What is the thing that they really want in life that would really excite your character? Make this up for your character. It's another good way to get to know your characters, right? They're different than you. What is the thing that they need that excites them that they wish that they had at that moment?
Yeah, what would put them on their path to relaxation?
Yes. And then for the real world task,
check out the Brendon Show for some sciency woo woo is how Jeff has it written down here.
Yes, that's literally how I have it written.
Sciency woo woo.
It's like he talks woo woo, and which kind of like, if you know me, I'm kind of like, yeah, okay, sure, buddy. But then he's like, okay, this is how your brain works, and let's look at some scientific stats for why you need this woo woo thing. Like, okay, that makes sense.
So he speaks both languages is what you're saying. Yeah. So the people who listen to woo woo are gonna like it, and people who like the science, like you and me, like it. And I would say,
sit there and go, okay, maybe I'll try the woo woo thing, and then you try the woo woo thing, and you're like, oh, okay, it's working, but I still hate you for making me do a woo woo thing. but you use science to get me there. So I'll do it. Yeah.
There was something you just said a second ago that I had an important. No, it was an important thing about. Just a motivational thing. Just, one of the things I love about doing episodes like this is it's just another opportunity to remind you guys that we believe in you. Like, I know you guys can do this stuff. Like, you can change your lives. You have the power to improve it. You have the power to create these projects that you want to create. It's well within your grasp. You absolutely can do it. I believe that with every fiber of my being.
Yeah. So. And just walk away with the irony too, that I'm telling you, the ultimate path to relaxing is excitement. And it's true, but it doesn't mean you have to jump off of a bridge. Obviously, like strapped into something or holding on to something that floats. But
or maybe if you're just it's a low bridge and a little water,
a little water,
something like that.
I'm not saying necessarily that type of excitement, but for some people, that is the thing that makes them feel alive. I'm not that person. I've had my share. But
I still like those things. I just can't get away with doing them anymore.
Yeah. Just remember, it's the excitement in your future that gets you on that path. And once you have a path, you can make decisions. Life becomes easier, So we hope you have a great week, and we will see you next time. Thank you so much for listening to the World Builders Anvil.
We would love it if you would share the World Builders Anvil with 2 of your friends.
And so would they.
If they are unfamiliar with podcasts, then you get to introduce them to the wonderful world of podcasting.
Take them to Stitcher or iTunes, or best of all, just send them to our website, www.gardul.com.
That's GARDUL.com.
Now strike while the mithril's hot.